Back with another breakdown. Let's get right into it. Starting off US30 on the daily time frame. We see ever since price broke this resistance right here to the upside, we can probably get rid of this. This was just a previous resistance that price stopped at, right? So we can get rid of this for now. Now we can track the plot out fib, point A to point B. Price is currently consolidating around 23.6% right now, which is just a continuation for the uptrend, right? We will have to wait for a retrace, right? Being that it's consolidating, price can continue or price can start to pull back. So we had this resistance line here. So price is showing that it does not want to break this resistance at the moment, right? Where we have bullish, doji, bearish, bullish, doji, 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 bearish, all tested areas, right? All testing this resistance, right? So now we go down to the H4 time frame. We can probably get rid of this fib. And we see price has been in this consolidation, but ever since price made a new high point, even though it's still tested that daily resistance, we can see that price has broke support, right? So price broke support, made a new high point, price started to make lower highs, right? Building up that selling pressure to break the support, which it did when it broke here. Let me highlight this. When we have bearish candles, right? And price continued bearish. So now we can go down to the H1 time frame and we see here that we can slap on a fib to track the counter trend for the H1 time frame. So we have point A to point B. Price closed at 61.8%, but it also wicked 78.6 after grabbing liquidity above 88.6%, right? So now what we can look for this week is price. So below this support right here is selling pressure, right? So sellers is below this support, and we can start looking for sells, right? But we will have to go into the to the M15 time frame and start looking for bearish structure. So right now we have swing low, swing lower high, but we have to wait for selling pressure. So we have maybe M5 time frame so we can see a little bit more data. So we have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, but then we have a higher low, right? So we can still plot our resistance level here, resistance line, and we can wait to see what price wants to do here, right? Where we have bullish, doji, bullish, you can say, but it is a doji being that the candle is so small. So we can see at opening if it's going to be a bearish candle to continue to the downtrend, right? Even if it does want to retrace, as long as price does not break this 100% level right here, then we're still valid for the downtrend. As long as price doesn't break that 100% level, we're still valid for the downtrend. So we can still see that this can just still be a retrace, you know, and we know below this level here is selling, right? So we can look for sells and we can still target negative 27% as TP1, right? Let's see here. Okay, yeah. Which negative 27%, we have confluence around this area as this is the bottom end of the consolidation, right? Let me drag this out some more. Even if price doesn't want to play out the way we are anticipating, we still have to realize that we're in a consolidation zone. So this is all consolidation right here. This is all one big consolidation zone. So we're still in that consolidation zone, so you do want to keep an eye on that and still have that in the back of your brain, right? So let's get rid of this. Oh, we can keep it. All right, let's move on to the NASDAQ, right? So we already have the same consolidation zone marked off here. Consolidation area where we have a top and a bottom. H4 time frame sees it better, right? So on the H1 time frame, it is confusion, but previous structure is we have a low, we have a low point, we had a lower high point right here. We had a break of this lower high point, aka support, and then we have a lower high point. So we broke this support right here, making a lower low, sorry. And now we have a lower high point here, right? Where we know it's sellers below this area targeting these lows, right? So below this zone right here, we're looking for sells. That's to why we have this arrow right here. So let's look down on a M15 time frame. We already started to make lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and now this is just consolidating also. So you can say this is a consolidation area, right? Where it's no clear structure. It's just sideways movement in the market. So that's consolidation, but we want to look for a break to the downside, right? And we want to target sells. Oh yeah, speaking of that, let's go to Forex Factory. Over the weekend, we did have war, right? We did have a play on war where President Trump did bomb Iran. So we already know that's going to be negative sentiment for the market this upcoming week. Along with Monday, we have FOMC, even though it's an orange folder, but we still do have flash manufacturing, flash services, PMI, right? So, and then we have a lot of FOMC members speaking. So we know that it's going to be heavy news coming up Monday. I don't think I will be trading due to the fact of the war. And then, you know, the market has to react. And then we have to wait for the market to catch up to the news, right? So moving on, Tuesday we have, okay, Powell is testifying. That's big. I guess I won't be trading on Tuesday also, because when Powell speak, you don't know where the market is going to go, what's going to happen. He's testifying on Wednesday also. Yeah, this looks like a not real good trading week due to the fact of news besides Thursday. But then we have Friday, core PCE. So this week will be kind of difficult to trade due to the fact of all this news events, and we have war. So I'll say protect your capital, maybe not trade, you know, just keep an eye on things, you know. Let's go back to, all right, so let's move on to gold, right? Where we know when wartime is here, gold reacts good because everybody's taking their money out of stocks, crypto, so on and so forth, right? And they're putting into safe assets such as gold. Gold has always been the safe haven, the safe asset of the whole market, of all the markets, right? So we see here we had a resistance level, right? We seen price made a new higher high, and we see this is the retrace, right? This is the pullback. So now what we're waiting for is for structure to shift and start making higher highs and higher lows due to the fact that after we had lower lows and lower highs here, even though this was a big consolidation, we did have lower lows and lower highs making up the downtrend, right? For the bigger time frame, that's just a pullback. So now we're looking for a continuation of the main trend, which will be higher highs and higher lows. So we know above this level here, price is bullish. This is bullish momentum. This is a bullish area. Buyers are sitting here, right? So we can say this is the last lower swing lower high point, I guess. And this could potentially be it, but let's zoom out to H1 and see if this is still there, which it is. So that could potentially be the breaker structure right here. Let's see H4. Okay, H4 look boxy. So I mean, it's still here on H1. So you can really say that this was but this was just a continuation. This was just a part of the push. Yeah. So this is the last lower high point right here that gold made. Sorry about that. And we want to look for a break of this support, this resistance. So we want to see a break, whether it might not come Monday, it might come Tuesdays, who knows. So we want to see a break, then we want to see somewhat of a retrace, and then a continuation to the upside, with price being above this zone right here, showing buyers are in control. And then we can start looking for buys around this, above this area, stops below the zone, and we can target the same high point, or we can hold and see price hit negative 27%, which is our TP1, right? So being that we have a lot of news and a lot of things going on this week, we want to be patient, sit on our hands, and just wait for price to give us what we want. Don't just take it. Don't just take any little bits and pieces that the market want to give you. No, you want to wait for price to give you exactly what you want. So you want to be a little stubborn, you know. So that's our outlook on gold, right? Moving on to UJ. We did have price hit negative 27% as we anticipated. So we did have point A to point B on the fib. And this was negative 27%, right? Where price retraced all the way to 78.6, and now price hit negative 27% for the fib. So we want to go down to the H1, M30 time frame and just get a continuation of this bullish push that we're getting. But because we did have a big consolidation throughout this whole last 2 weeks, where this is more than 10 candles, right? So this is consolidation for the past 2 weeks. If we go to the weekly, we'll see one, two, three, actually 3 weeks, which this week just closed, and we have a bullish candle indicating that price wants to continue bullish, right? Strong bullish candle, barely any wick to the upside with a little wick to the downside, right? So we want to be looking for buys this upcoming week. So on H4 time frame, we have a higher high, higher low, and our price is currently sitting at a higher high. So what we want to see is price to correct itself, retrace, same thing, right? Where we can potentially get rid of this, and now we can just make this a support zone right here, where as long as price does not break the support, we are continuing the bullish momentum, the bullish push, right? So what we want to see is price retrace. It doesn't have to be so steep, but as long as it comes somewhere along this area, and then we want to see a continuation above this area. Once we do see a continuation above this area, then we know we're looking for buys, right? So we want to move this arrow here, so we know buyers are sitting above this area, right? Where we can start measuring these counter trends, where we have point A to point B, price pulled back to 38.2%, excuse me, which is valid for the uptrend, right? So price making a higher high, we want to wait for price to, we want to wait for price to establish a resistance, and then start to retrace, right? To make a swing lower high, a higher low. And then we can wait for the continuation to the upside, which is kind of contradicting due to the fact of the war that's going on. So we can potentially see some bearish momentum, which would probably establish and just probably continue the trend to the upside, right? Where it can just, this bearish news that we're going to get can just be price, could just be playing in to the pullback that we're going to get for the US dollar, right? Due to the fact is UJ. So the US dollar comes first. So we know if US dollar is strong, we will get buying signals. If the US dollar is weak, we will get selling signals, right? Where like I said, the news coming up this week could give us what we want to aid our pullback, right? And as long as price does not break this support zone right here, we can still look for buys. Unless it does break it, then we can switch our whole bias. But we would just have to wait and see how price reacts to all the news that's coming up this week. So yeah, that is the outlook for UJ. What's this? GU, right? So being that we have the US dollar on the back end of the pair, if the US dollar is weak, we will see buy-in for GBP, right? Due to the fact that it is in the front, but the pound may be stronger than the US dollar at the moment due to the fact that we got involved and the UK did not get involved, right? Because GBP is a pound and that is in the UK. So we see here that price is currently pulling back, and it might play into this week where we have bearish news for the dollar, which can push this market up, right? So we are looking for buys above this resistance zone and above this resistance zone also. And we can target this high, or we can hold it and target the main high due to the fact that we are in a consolidation zone, right? So on the H1 time frame, we can look for trades like this. So above this zone, we would be looking for buys. And we could target the main high point, the previous high point, or we can target and hold this for a swing due to the fact that we are in a consolidation zone, right? So we can hold it and price may react here or price may break it, but we could just hold it and be safe and just take our profit here, and we will be good for the uptrend due to the fact of everything economic playing out. And yeah, it just makes sense where price hit this support and it went to the resistance. Price hit this resistance, pushed back to the support. Price rejected off the support, so we could just react to what went on in the past, which is price hit this support and went to the resistance. So we know that price rejected here, so the next target is this resistance zone in a consolidation. Even though I don't trade consolidations, I hate consolidation zones, but this just makes sense due to the fact that we are at the bottom of the consolidation zone. And on the H1 time frame, we are seeing a structure shift where we had the lower low, we had the lower high, we had the lower low, and then we had a higher high breaking this lower high point, right? So now what we're looking for is high low point to continue up to the upside, to continue to support our analysis as buys, right? So that is what we are looking for right now on GBP USD. Moving on to AU. I remember we did have, okay, so price was consolidating. It still is. This is just sideways. I mean, it made a little something, but this is still ugly where it's just consolidated, man. I don't know what to do with this. This is ugly. Let's see what we could do here. Ugly, 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 ugly. Let's go down to the smaller time frames, such as H4, to see what we have here. So I did mark off this support level here that we can see price. It was bullish doji due to the fact that we have wicks on both ends, and we had a big bullish candle that tested it, right? And then we do have a big bearish candle, and this did close bearish, which it wasn't a doji. This looks like data, right? Where we can wait for open to see if it continued to the downside, right? But if it is going to continue to the downside, we want to see something like, I mean, we want to watch and let's see, just watch it play out, right? Where we can see Wednesday when we do a midweek breakdown or midweek analysis to see where the markets have been, if our analysis is right or wrong. We can be able to update the market with AU at the moment. But we do want to account that price has been making, what was this? Price has been making lower high points, right? So we are looking for sells. We are looking for sells due to the fact that we are under this zone. So sellers are under this zone and another fact is AU, right? AUD USD. The dollar is on the back end. So the dollar, that's interesting, right? Where the dollar's on the back end, but we're gonna get bearish news this week due to the fact of war. So it's kind of interesting for AU. You just want to wait, because if the Australian dollar is stronger than the US dollar, because the dollar is going to be weak this week due to the fact of us being involved in this news, that is buying indication. So yeah, I don't know what to do with AU at this moment. It has been sloppy. Go to daily time frame. Ugly sideways movement. Go to the weekly time frame. Just ugly. Bunch of wick rejections from the upside. This week did close with a more selling data in this candle opposed to buying. We had a lot of buying rejection here. So, and on the weekly, we do see we are in a bearish trend where price is trending down, and we are under the MA, right? Where we have a lower high, lower low, and this could potentially be the low high, like I said weeks ago, because we still are in this area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks now. So we just want to wait, see what price wants to do. This is just ugly. I wouldn't recommend trading AU this week. And that is it. Don't forget to like, send, share, whatever the case may be. If you like the analysis, if you made money in the analysis, it's nothing to just hit the like button, subscribe. Don't forget, I will put links in my bio for the broker that I am using, and I will update you guys with the 100x challenge with my boy Omar, and I will put links to my socials, and I'll put all my links in the bio, and you guys just check it out. And that's it, man. Thanks again for rocking with me. It's another breakdown, and that's it. We are out.